CBS affiliates. So I think that there will be some opportunity there for them. But again, my big question is, for some of the other affiliates out there, what's going to fill the void? Where are they going to get that trusted source of national news? I don't know.
Yeah, imagine, we were talking last week, imagine how many emails were flying around cyberspace last week when 700 affiliates suddenly realized they needed a new affiliate. So I would think that Fox and ABC and there's USA News Radio and there's others, a few much smaller. Now people are scrambling. We have 2 months, I suppose, and we keep telling our listeners we will have national news on this station. It's in the process of being determined what works best. Your comment, Bill, about audio is interesting. We're an affiliate here, as I'm sure you can guess, of the Pirates and the Penguins, the Steelers. And we've been a affiliate of the Steelers Radio Network for years, but now it's called the Steelers Audio Network because they know people are listening not just on a radio.
And that's because the flagship station is an iHeart radio station, right. And they are very much pushing the concept of audio. And that, look, we are an audio company that delivers on many, many platforms, digital, video, but we also serve radio stations. It's centered around the radio anymore. It's centered around the idea of audio, recognizing the fact that people still do listen to it on the radio. And I saw a recent survey that says 88% of Americans still listen to the radio, so it's still viable. But the money that's being made now, in many cases, is in the online, in the digital internet environment. So the companies that are doing that have the best chance to succeed, I think. And so that's why you're seeing that shift, because there's a whole generation that doesn't understand necessarily what radio is, and that they don't want to be pigeonholed into it. So that's why the audio moniker. Same product, just a different name.
Interesting how you say that a portion of a potential audience doesn't know what radio is. I was at my daughter's apartment recently. She's in her mid-20s. And somebody asked, she had some friends over, and they said, are you on the radio? I'm like, yeah. I said, what station? I'm like, well, here, I'll show you. Julia, where's your radio? And she gave me this look and said, Dad, I don't have a radio.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, good heavens. And I guess I had this look on my face, and she said, are you all right, Dad? I'm like, yeah, I'll be okay. My daughter doesn't own a radio. And
my daughter doesn't have one either.
Yeah. When I think back when I was in college, when the dorms would shut down for Thanksgiving break or Christmas break or spring break, the word went out, you get this word from the housing department, please unplug your clock radios, because every dorm had two, every dorm room had two, and they wanted to save on the electricity during the time. I think of that, yes. I'm not sure if my daughter would know what a clock radio is, especially the ones where the numbers would flip over, if you remember that. Those old
Right, I
ones.
do remember those, for sure.
But yeah, I looked at my own daughter as an example of the change. And I'm like, oh, good heavens, my daughter doesn't own a radio. When I joke about maybe she doesn't listen to this station, I guess maybe she does it online, I suppose. Bill Rakoff is joining us on the Afternoon Drive Show. Go ahead, Bill.
And I know you're running out of time. Can I get a shout-out in real quick?
Oh, we have plenty of time. Go right ahead.
Well, I do want to shout out the people that I worked with there who are going through a grief process right now. And it's dead man walking because the network isn't going to shut down until May. So they are going in every single day knowing that their days are numbered. The news came out Friday. I spent Friday evening just sort of being a counselor of sorts, listening to some of my former colleagues who I got on the horn with and talked to, and just kind of listen to them process. These are some of the finest people I have ever worked in my career. And you mentioned KDKA and some of the other places I worked, WCBS. Look, I worked with some amazing people in this business. And the folks at CBS News, there just are no better people. And some of these people, one of the producers who was one of my most stalwart producers in New York, worked there since she was 21 and came in as a desk assistant under Douglas Edwards. And she's in her 60s now. I won't identify her, so she won't mind me saying that. But, this was her entire career. This was her entire life. So you have really dedicated professionals who gave their careers dedicated to, accurate and factual reporting. I think we did a very good job and succeeded at that. A great lion's share, 90-some% of the time, I think I felt like we hit the mark. Did we slide? Sure, we're human. We did that. But that's my point, Doug. there are human beings behind all of this.
Yeah, absolutely.
And these human beings are really kind of going through it right now. So when you listen to that CBS News broadcast, and I implore your listeners, when they hear those CBS News broadcasts and you hear those familiar voices of Steve Kathan and some of the other anchors who are doing that stuff, just know that with Steve, there are dozens of people behind the scenes who are pouring their hearts and soul into this, knowing full well that ride is coming to an end very, very soon.
Yeah, on Friday, too, I think I counted at one point 27 text messages I sent out to correspondents and anchors and analysts and saying, I'm so sorry to hear this news. And I included it on every one. I said Edward R. Murrow and Cronkite are rolling over to see this happen. And when you think about folks who haven't been around for a while, whether it's Pam Falk, who did incredible work from the UN in New York, and Steve Futterman, who I interviewed on this show from every continent except Antarctica.
And he's still doing it. He's doing it for the CBC now in Canada.
Right.
And he's the Energizer Bunny. Yeah, you're mentioning some fantastic names here.
Yeah, I think we used to joke at times. One day, Nick and I were talking. He was on hold waiting to go on the air with us, and we mentioned it was the anniversary of boxer Michael Tyson biting off the ear of, I can't think of his name.
Yeah, Vander Holyfield.
Vander Holyfield. And before we finished that conversation, he just cut us off and said, I covered that fight.
Yeah, and that doesn't surprise me. That man was everywhere.
Right.
I'll tell you a great Steve Futterman story real quick.
Go ahead. Take your time.
There was a national story that we were trying to figure out how we were going to cover it, and it was one of those emerging breaking stories. And the boss said, well, I called Futterman, and I said, to tell him he was going to go, and he was already at the airport. So that's the type of guy Futterman was.
Did he have a home? We always joked about that. I don't know if he actually
I'm
had
not sure
base.
that he does.
He was absolutely amazing. Because after he told us that, we joked later, and after the interview was done, I said, what was it like when the Hindenburg came down? And he said, good talking to you, Doug. And he hung up, kidding around. He didn't really hang up. It's when you think about people like that and what they did, it's a sad time, that's for sure. Maybe somebody will pick this up. I don't know. Maybe at this point,
the question, too, is where do all these people go to work now?
Yeah.
Well, and I mean, look, there's the $1 million question there for, you've got those people. You've got 300 some Washington Post journalists who got put out in the street a couple of months ago. Some of them are finding honest work. Others are, having difficulty. It's just the CBS News is just one. And as you well know, the radio industry, the bigger companies, they continue to cut. And so there are a lot of people out there. Now, for me, I found a plan B, and I probably mentioned it to your listeners before, but I teach now. I teach at the Defense Information School at Fort Meade, Maryland, and I teach military officers and Department of War civilians journalism and public affairs so they can get qualified as public affairs officers. And that's my job. I'm going on 5 years at the schoolhouse now, and I was very, very fortunate. And I hope that my colleagues, I hope they can find something into business, but if they can't, I do hope they find meaningful plan Bs. But it's a lot harder these days than it used to be.
Yeah, that's for sure in this industry.
There is good news. VOA may be coming back.
May be coming back. I have dear friends who work there, and they are hoping for it. They don't know what it looks like yet. I just talked with one of those folks last week. I don't think that they'll be bringing anybody new in, so I don't know if they can absorb any of the CBS or other losses. It's just going to be something getting their people back. And as you well know, that legal fight isn't over yet.
Yeah.
Hopefully we'll see those guys back too before too long.
Bill Rakoff joining us on the Afternoon Drive Show. Bill, it's an honor to have you on. Thanks so much for joining us. We don't talk to you much anymore. When the time's right, we'll have you back on. We'll talk about some things if you're available and interested. But we sure do appreciate your analysis of this matter. It's Saturday.
Anytime, Doug. Happy to help.
Thank you. Bill Rakoff joining us here on the Afternoon Drive Show. We're going to take a break and wrap up hour number 1 on your local station, WMBS, Uniontown.
The weather's warming up, and those big outdoor projects are calling. So, who are you going to call? Ghostbusters! Well, no. How about you call 3P Excavating and Plumbing of Smithfield? From French drains and septic systems to site prep for homes and buildings, plus driveway and utility line clearing, 3Ps does it all. Get your property ready the right way. Call 3P Excavating and Plumbing today at 724-880-5215 or find them on Facebook.
Laurel Highlands Wealth Advisory Group of Janie Montgomery Scott in Uniontown is a proud sponsor of Sportsline. When you work with Janie, it's about going beyond investing. It's about connecting your life and your finances in a way that makes sense for you. The team partners with you through each stage of life to help you set and reach your financial goals. To learn more about the Laurel Highlands Wealth Advisory Group at Janie, be sure to check out their website at www.lhwag.com. Laurel Highlands Wealth Advisory Group of Janie Montgomery Scott, LLC, member FINRA, NYSE, SIPC.
Celebrate the season at Rich Farms Lightscapes with 2 magical ways to enjoy festive family fun this Christmas. Sundays through Thursdays, cruise through dazzling light displays from the comfort of your car, just $20 per carload. Then, Fridays and Saturdays, enjoy holiday nights at the farm. For $19 a person, walk through the lights, visit Santa, decorate and take home your own live Christmas tree, and so much more. Rich Farms opens nightly at 5 p.m. For details, visit Lightscapes at Rich Farms on Facebook.
When you are looking to make some extra cash for your aluminum cans, visit Cherokee Recycling, where aluminum can is king. Cherokee Recycling is open Monday through Friday 9 to 4:30 and Saturdays 8 to 12 noon, closed Sundays and holidays. Give Marcus or Rags a call today, 724-439-3228 for Cherokee Recycling, where recycling makes the most sense.
Are you looking to list or sell your house? Now is the time to let the professionals at Caldwell Banker Laurel Ridge Realty help you with all of your real estate needs. Caldwell Banker Laurel Ridge Realty has 2 convenient locations to better serve you. In Uniontown area, 724-437-7100, or in Connellsville area, 724-628-7200, and speak with one of our real estate professionals. Visit our website, caldwellbanker.com. We have been proudly serving Western Pennsylvania area for over 30 years and look forward to helping you with all of your real estate needs. Broker Paul Borges.
For funeral services from pre-need to at-need, burial or cremation, call Gates Funeral Home and Crematory, located at 136 North Gallatin Avenue in a beautifully restored historic home. Family owned and operated by Rick Gates, former Brownsville resident and Guyville alumni, the Gates Funeral Home and Crematory offers warmth, convenience, affordability, and ample parking. With a knowledgeable funeral director and compassionate staff, the Gates family and the Gates Funeral Home and Crematory are ready to assist you.
That is Warren Zevon bringing us out of the break. Werewolves in London. Now, I saw an interview he did one time. He said, this is such a stupid song. This is never going to get any play. So you never know.
Hey, you never know what's going to be a classic.
It's like Wild Thing, I Think I Love You. You're one of those songs that they're still playing, for heaven's sakes, that I'm sure the bands thought were crazy. I want to thank Bill Rakoff. Great guy.
You know, he made a point, and we had an example of that here, where the Steelers this last season, it was not the Steelers radio network.
Right. Oh,
it was the Steelers audio
Yeah,
network.
I said that over the air. Yeah.
Yeah, and now only radio nerds like you and me would notice
that. Yeah. But yeah, they call it the Steelers Audio Network. And that doesn't mean it's against radio, but people get their audio on different things besides a transistor radio.
And well, that's also why the ratings are so... You know, sometimes
they have no clue.
It's cockeyed, yeah.
Exactly. A quick story made me laugh when I brought up Vander Holyfield having his ear bitten off by Mike Tyson at that fight. Of all crazy things, I'll get the story in before the news. My clutch went out of my car. I had a hitchhike into for heaven's sakes, what's the city of motels down off the turnpike on the way to Washington D.C. Oh, for heaven's sakes.
Frederick?
No, the town. It's right off of 70 where the turnpike comes into 70. You have to go through all the lights to get through the town. Now I'm going to run out of it. Sorry. Well, I'm sitting in a truck stop waiting for my brother to show up so we can tow my car home. And all of a sudden, there's a screaming going on downstairs in the trucker's locker room. So I look over at the waitresses. I'm drinking a cup of coffee. They start to panic. They call the police. The police show up. They literally have their hands on their guns, and they go down the steps into the locker room thinking there's this massive brawl because there's so much screaming going on. And that's when Michael Tyson bit off the ear of Evander Holyfield. Police come up laughing. And thought that was, I don't know how I remember that one, but that's a kind of a goofy story. CBS News coming up, followed by local news. Yes, it's still CBS News, folks, followed by local, regional, and statewide news with Bill Madden. We'll be back. We're going to talk to an engineer from PennDOT about a project coming up, and John Wayner, we're going to talk to him about the upcoming pirate season on WMBS Union Time.
This is CBS News on the Hour, your home for original reporting.
I'm Jennifer Kuiper. President Trump is claiming great progress toward ending the war against Iran.
We've won this. This war has been won.
Speaking in the Oval Office, the president says there have been talks. But with whom?
The leaders are all gone. Nobody knows who to talk to. But we're actually talking to the right people.
Iran has denied there have been any negotiations, but Trump says otherwise, adding, in his words, they gave us a present.
It was a very big present worth a tremendous amount of money. And I'm not going to tell you what that present is.
Was it nuclear related?
It was oil and gas related.
The president also claimed Iran has agreed it will never have a nuclear weapon. Linda Kenyon, CBS News, the White House.
The Trump administration is sending more troops to the Middle East. CBS's Cammie McCormick with that.
The Pentagon is expected to send parts of the Army's 82nd Airborne Division to the region. A command element and some ground forces are expected to be part of the deployment. But it's unclear under what circumstances President Trump would authorize the use of U.S. ground troops in Iran.
Jury in New Mexico has found that Meta violated state consumer protection law and failed to disclose the risks of its platforms to children. State prosecutors had accused Meta of placing profits over safety in violation of the state's Unfair Practices Act. Meta owns Instagram, Facebook, and WhatsApp. Travelers' frustration is high as the number of TSA workers calling out sick grows due to the partial government shutdown ongoing since February 14th. At Houston Airport, where the line stretches 3 floors,
I wished every senator, every congressman could stand in this line.
On Capitol Hill, there's cautious optimism that a deal could be in the works, but President Trump says he's probably not going to like whatever they come up with in the Senate. The NTSB gives a timeline on the deadly collision between a jet and a fire truck at LaGuardia Airport. The NTSB's Doug Brazy says of the first warning given to the fire truck,
at 9 seconds, the tower instructed Truck 1 to stop. At 8 seconds, there was a sound consistent with the airplane's landing gear touching down on the runway.
Investigators plan to speak with the 2 controllers who were in the control box on Sunday night. The Minnesota Attorney General is suing the Trump administration for allegedly blocking evidence related to the shootings by federal officers of Renee Good, Alex Preddy, and Julio Cesar Sosa Solis. CBS's Sarah Lynch.
What has happened here is that in all 3 of these very high-profile shootings, the Department of Justice has essentially blocked the state officials from being able to access evidence, from being able to sit in on interviews with witnesses.
This is CBS News.
The stars shine brighter on CBS Mornings.
This is a slam dunk.
So cute.
Y'all came in singing for me today.
On CBS Mornings.
Jen, I didn't.
Warm weather means you'll be spending more time outside. So enjoy your deck or patio with retractable or fixed awnings from Lifetime Awnings. Made in the USA with manufacturer and customers guarantees, Lifetime Awnings products last. Lifetime Awnings is veteran-owned and operated with a 10% discount to all military veterans and their families. Call Lifetime Awnings 724-554-6067 or email John, the owner, at lifetimeawningsusa@gmail.com.
Ready to update your home? Find what you need at Zen's Construction Warehouse. Their friendly, knowledgeable staff will be happy to help you the old-fashioned way. Zen's is open Monday through Friday, 9 to 5:30, Saturday and Sunday, 10 to 2. 485 Walnut Hill Road in Continental. Zen's Construction Warehouse, 724-366-8274. Or visit Zen's Construction Warehouse's Facebook page.
Zen's Construction Warehouse, our surplus, your savings.
An economics professor is using a historic contract to teach her children or students.
Lynn McDonald is a professor at St. Cloud State University in Minnesota and a WNBA season ticket holder. She saw an opportunity to overlap sports and economics as collective bargaining negotiations unfolded.
It's fascinating, and it's such a great topic for students to think about so much with economics, with labor market, with negotiations, and salaries and the gender pay gap.
Junior Amelia Ross.
It's just kind of crazy seeing that like an NBA rookie player makes
more than the best player on a WNBA team.
Christopher Cruz, CBS News.
Travelers at Philadelphia's airport may have expected long security lines, but the longest was made of cheesesteaks on this National Cheesesteak Day. Organizers say they've set a Guinness World Record with 1,291 sandwiches lined up in the walkway between Terminals B and C. Jennifer Kuiper, CBS News.
The award-winning local, district, and statewide news is brought to you by Clayton Homes of Bell Vernon. Is it time to find a home that fits your lifestyle? Visit Clayton Homes of Bell Vernon. You'll find special savings along with beautiful, energy-efficient homes packed with features you've been dreaming about at Clayton Homes of Bell Vernon, 4500 PA 51. And now the news.
From the Davis & Davis Attorneys at Law Studios at your local station, 590 AM, 101.1 FM, WMBS. Davis & Davis injured. Their team is ready to fight for you. Good evening. It's 6:05. It's 48. And it's partly cloudy. The Weather Watch is coming up. But first, the local district and statewide news. Laurel Highlands Superintendent Dr. Jesse Wallace releasing a statement today regarding a second alleged violation filed against the Laurel Highlands staff member involved with a junior ROTC program. WMBS confirming the staff member as 49-year-old Daniel Servone. He was removed from the high school and taken into custody this morning. He's charged with sexual conduct with a student, corruption of minors, and unlawful contact with minors. The district also announcing there was a special meeting of the board of directors. It was held as of a half hour ago today to discuss personnel matters. Gas prices are 22 cents higher in western Pennsylvania this week at $3.96 a gallon. That's according to the AAA East Central Gas Price Report. In Uniontown, on average, you'll be paying $3.97 a gallon. In Greensburg, it's $3.99 a gallon. In Pittsburgh, $3.95 a gallon on average. Nationwide, prices at the pump are continuing to climb. Today's national average is $3.95. That's 24 cents higher than this time last week and $1.02 higher than last month. The USDA's Food and Safety Inspection Service issuing a public health alert for a ground beef product. According to officials, White Oak Pastures radically traditional farming grass-fed ground beef produced February 29th may have been contaminated with foreign material, specifically metal. The product was shipped to retail locations in Pennsylvania, as well as Maryland, Virginia, New Jersey, Massachusetts, and Washington, D.C. Anybody who's bought the ground beef should avoid consuming it and throw it away or return it to your place of purchase. State police were offering a $5,000 reward for information regarding a 2009 home invasion that left a Greene County woman dead and her husband wounded. The incident happening on March 22nd of 2009 at a rural home in Morris Township. An unidentified man entered the home saying he needed assistance with a flat tire before shooting Betty McClellan and her husband, Jacob. The suspect, described as a white male in his 40s with a medium build. He stands about 5'7", with 150 and 170 pounds approximately. At the time of the incident, he was unshaven and had brown shoulder-length hair that was pulled back. The $5,000 reward is being offered for any information leading to a resolution of the homicide investigation. A new study examines when fathers are most vulnerable to depression-like symptoms. Michael Kastner with this.
Daddy sing bass.
More like Daddy singing the blues. Data collected by the JAMA Network Open shows the risk for new dads goes up by more than 30% toward the end of their child's first year. Researchers tracked more than 1 million fathers between 2003 and 2021. They said that risks of depression and stress-related disorders goes down during pregnancy and in the first couple of months after birth. Around the 1-year mark, researchers found that anxiety levels and alcohol and drug use returned to levels seen seen before pregnancy. I'm Michael Kastner.
WMBS time is 6:09. Sports and weather coming up.
Is it time for your first home? Or time to trade up to a home that fits your lifestyle? It's time to visit Clayton Homes of Bell Vernon. You'll find special savings along with trade-in and trade-up deals. Imagine beautiful, new, energy-efficient homes packed with the features you've been dreaming about. Trade in and trade up at Clayton Homes of Bell Vernon, 4500 PA 51. Trade-in value toward purchase of a new home determined by resale value and evaluation by home center manager. Additional deposit may be required.
WMBS time is 6:10 in sports. Penguins back on the ice tonight as they welcome the Colorado Avalanche to PPG Paints Arena. Unfortunately, not on the ice for the Penguins for Evgeny Malkin. He has been scratched for tonight's game. The team announcing on social media Malkin will be sidelined due to an undisclosed injury and has been labeled as day-to-day. Coming up tomorrow, our C. Harper Auto Group High School Sports Day features baseball action between Connellsville and Laurel Highlands. The Sprouts Insurance Group pregame show starts things off at 3:40 tomorrow afternoon. The first pitch at 4 on both WMBS Radio and our WMBS YouTube channel. And speaking of baseball, opening day is a Thursday for the Pirates. They're on the road. They're in New York to take on the Mets at Citi Field. We will have that game starting at 12:50 with the pregame show. First pitch at 1:05. Paul Skeens will be on the mound for the Pirates. And coming up a little bit later on this hour, Doug Saltzman will have Pirates broadcaster John Wayner with him on the afternoon drive show on your local station, WMBS. Weather Watch is next.
The local, district, and statewide news was brought to you by Clayton Homes of Bell Vernon. Is it time to find a home that fits your lifestyle? Visit Clayton Homes of Bell Vernon. You'll find special savings along with beautiful, energy-efficient homes packed with features you've been dreaming about at Clayton Homes of Bell Vernon, 4500 PA 51.
The Weather Watch is being brought to you by State Farm agent Nathan Ferguson. Call Nate at 724-438-7611 for life, home, car insurance, and more. Get a free quote now.
And we're going to have clouds overnight with a low of 34. And then tomorrow, cloudy, high around 60. Clouds and showers Thursday and Friday. The high Thursday up to 68, up to 62 on Friday. Saturday and Sunday look for it to be partly to mostly sunny, but not as warm on Saturday with a high only up to 42, 55 for the high on Sunday. It's 47, and it's partly cloudy at your local station, WMBS. More of Doug Saltzman, the afternoon drive show, coming up.
The Weather Watch has been brought to you by State Farm agent Nathan Ferguson. Nate is there for you. Call 724-438-7611 for life, home, car insurance, and more.
Lanier in transition hits the three, and a sign of life from Knoxville.
Plant driving right.
Lob for Brazil and a two-hand slam.
Don't miss any of this year's action on the road to the Final Four with Westwood One's exclusive coverage of the men's NCAA tournament.
Follow all the NCAA tournament action through the championship game April 6th on your local station, 590 AM, 101.1 FM, WMBS. Now, you don't have to travel too far for medical marijuana products. Go to Local Leaf in Scottdale for a wide variety of locally grown and locally sourced products, plus your questions answered on medical marijuana, qualifying medical conditions, or how to register for your medical card. Local Leaf by PHG off Route 119 in Scottdale, 412-417-4964. Online at localleafpa.com. Local Leaf, your medical marijuana dispensary with locally grown and locally sourced products in Scottdale.
In 1986, the Firestone Insurance Agency in Normalville was started with a promise to provide clients with truthful, friendly, and courteous service. It worked. With an expanded client base, the Firestone Insurance Agency's customers are now able to choose from over 20 well-known insurance companies. So whether it be auto, home, business, or life, Firestone has you covered, and the promise to provide truthful, friendly, and courteous service is still in place. As an independent insurance agency, the Firestone Insurance Agency works for you. They do the shopping for you to save you time and a bunch of needless phone calls. Because let's face it, no one loves to shop for insurance. Call the office at 724-455-3900 or visit firestoneinsurance.net. Can't make it to Normalville? Let the Firestone Insurance Agency bring service right to your kitchen table. The Firestone Insurance Agency, 724-455-3900 or firestoneinsurance.net. Doing what is right for the customer. Finding the most affordable rates while making sure there are no coverage gaps so you are fully protected from the unforeseen.
The weather's warming up and those big outdoor projects are calling. So, who are you going to call? Well, no. How about you call 3P Excavating and Plumbing of Smithfield? From French drains and septic systems to site prep for homes and buildings, plus driveway and utility line clearing, 3Ps does it all. Get your property ready the right way. Call 3P Excavating and Plumbing today at 724-880-5215 or find them on Facebook.
Experiencing symptoms of COPD? Frontier Clinical Research in Scottsdale has been selected to conduct a clinical research study, and participants are needed. All study-related care will be provided at no cost, and no health insurance is required. Compensation up to $2,200 for qualified participants for time and travel. To learn more, call Frontier Clinical Research in Scottsdale at 724-220-5281. That's Frontier Clinical Research in Scottsdale at 724-220-5281.
Spring is in full swing at Bogey's Restaurant and Sports Bar at the scenic Duck Hollow Golf Course. From March 16th through March 31st, stop by and celebrate their spring grand opening with daily food and drink specials you won't want to miss. Grab a drink, dig into some of Bogey's amazing food, and unwind with friends at Uniontown's newest hotspot. It's the perfect place to relax after a round of golf, enjoy a night out, or just catch up with some friends. NASCAR fans, be sure to stop by Bogey's on Sunday for the races, all shown on one of Bogey's 8 TVs, making every race day exciting. With warmer days on the way, it's time to start planning for the 2026 golf season at Duck Hollow Golf Course. Visit duckhollowgc.com to sign up for the newsletter and stay up to date on upcoming events, leagues, and season updates. Bogies welcomes you to 374 Duck Hollow Road in Uniontown or phone 724-439-3150 for additional information. Bogies Restaurant and Sports Bar, Duck Hollow Golf Course, where good times are always on par.
In radio, when you have an idea to tell a little story and you've got about a minute to tell it, make sure you have all the details. I did not. Right before you went to the break, I was telling the crazy story that I was in. I couldn't think of the name of the town. Breezewood. 3 different people sent me a email at radiosaltzman@gmail.com. Yes, I was in Breezewood, and that my clutch had gone out in my car. My brother and a buddy were coming up with a...
All right, stop right there.
Yes.
You're going to need to explain to about 90% of the audience
what this is about.
What a clutch is.
Yeah, what a clutch is in a car.
Yeah.
Right. That's when you have to shift the gears on your own.
Okay.
You have to push that extra pedal. There used to be 3 pedals down there.
Okay, I can hear the crickets right now.
And I was telling a story about how I heard this outrageous commotion when I was sitting at a truck stop. And they thought there was a huge fight breaking out in the truckers' locker room. And I couldn't think of the town. It's Breezewood, for heaven's sakes. That's where, of course, the Turnpike and Interstate 70 split. And you have to go through red lights instead of a direct interchange. It's been a political football for many, many years. So that's what I was trying to, couldn't think of the town. So I want to thank those. I even got a text message also saying the name of the town is Breezewood. How could I forget Breezewood, for heaven's sakes? Again, I want to go back to the first hour and thank Bill Rakoff for joining us. Great conversation that Bill Madden and I had with him about the history and the now, sadly enough, limited future of CBS News Radio, which will go out of existence less than 2 months from now. And don't worry, folks, we will have national news. We will be affiliated with someone else. We just don't know who that is just yet. So at least we have 2 months to work on that. So we'll be taking care of that. Nothing to concern yourself with, as we say. We'll be.
And the important thing, too, is to have a national hookup, because if there is a story of national importance.
Right.
Let's say a 9/11.
Yeah.
Or something like that.
Then we have that national connection. And then in many cases, they will simply go on, and not just at the top or bottom of the hour, but we will allow them to take over the airwaves here at WMBS.
We did that on January 6th.
Right. Oh, yeah.
2000.
Yeah. No, absolutely we did. Oddly enough, on that day, I did a recorded interview that morning with Tom Ridge as it was happening. And it was going to be played later in the day. And I said, I don't even think we should touch on this because I have no idea what's happening in Washington right now. But yet, very interesting. We're going to change topics here. Joining us right now on the WVU Medicine Uniontown Hospital talk line, two folks from PennDOT District 12, Michael McCannon, who is a bridge engineer, and Andrew Stacy, who is a community relations coordinator. And I like that second title. I had that exact title once, community relations coordinator, for not with PennDOT, but for a private company. And but we're very pleased to have both of them joining us on the air right now. Michael, Andrew, thank you very much for joining us today. We appreciate it.
Thanks for having us.
Good. Well, thanks for having us. We wanted to talk to you about, you had a public meeting today on a project. I'll be blunt here. At first look at it, like somebody might say, and why are you having two guys on to talk about a Fayette County epoxy overlay project? First off, I had to Google that to make sure I have some vague idea of what I'm talking about. But this is a big project affecting this region, whether it's North Union Township, McClellantown Road in South Union, Redstone Township, Georges Township. It's a significant project here, and that's why PennDOT, and we'll go to Michael on this one first. I'm sorry, we'll go to Andrew first on this, and that's why PennDOT has public meetings like this, correct?
Correct. Yeah, we put out the announcement for the public meeting about 2 weeks ago, and so we had that public meeting this evening, and we also launched our virtual plans display today as well, and so that is the time where we launch our project webpage for it and put all that meeting information online for people to view and submit a comment if they would like to.
Yeah. So let's go to you now, Michael, as bridge engineer. Explain to us, if you would, exactly what a epoxy overlay project is.
Yeah, so the long and the short of it is that we're investing preservation money into our bridges. This is going to be 4 different bridges. I'll explain those real quick, and I'll get into to answer your question about the epoxy. So, of the 4 bridges, one's going to be 51 over 119, which is the Pittsburgh Street exit bridge. One is 21 over 119. That's right behind the Uniontown Mall. Another one is 40 over the Turnpike, which anybody who's coming from Uniontown going to Brownsville, that's where you cut off of, say, historic SR 40 and cut over the Turnpike, that new section we built in 2008.
So you're talking about let me jump in. Route 43 Turnpike we're talking about here, not the main line Turnpike.
That's correct.
Okay.
No, it's right, SR 40 over 43. That's correct. And then the last one is SR 119 over 43 Turnpike, and it's actually old 119. So Morgantown Road is what most people know that as, and it's Morgantown Road right where there's the turnoff for 857. SR 857 is right there. The Sunoco and Arby's right there. So there's a bridge right there. So those are the 4 bridges we're going to be doing. And what we're going to be doing with the preservation, we're going to be putting epoxy overlay on the decks. So what that is, it's the equivalent of a lot of people know of high friction surface we put on our roadways, around turns, around stop signs. It's the equivalent of that to a bridge deck. So it's an epoxy material with a grit. It basically waterproofs our structure. Along with this project, we're going to be putting in new seals into this. So that's the rubber that you see on the approach of the bridge. So anyway, we invest this money, this preservation money, and what that does, it keeps the bridges waterproofed, keeps that salt water. Obviously, we have to salt our roadways, right? So it keeps that salt water from getting onto the elements, or getting those elements onto the substructure. So substructure being the beams, that's actually called the superstructure, and the abutments, which are the walls that the beams sit on. So if we can keep that salt water off of those, it keeps the bridge from deteriorating, keeps the bridge good, lets it live a lot longer. So that's kind of the purpose behind this project.
Yeah, when I think the average person, and I consider myself as average as they come, and you think of epoxy, you think of a much smaller surface. I guess like when I think about the fancy new floors they put in garages, I think of that as epoxy. Are we talking about, is that a vague similarity to what you're doing here? If I'm way off, feel free to tell me I'm full baloney.
No. It's epoxy material. It's only 3/8 inch thick. So we're basically putting it right on top. Obviously we'll do any deck repairs we need to do to the bridge. But yeah, you're basically spot on. It's epoxy material. The only difference is, we add that aggregate to it that gives that grittiness to it. So, like I said, it's like a high friction.
All right.
But you're right. It's epoxy material.
6:25 p.m. on March 24th, 2026. I got something right. So this is an important part of my life, I think. I actually had some vague sense of what I was talking about here. And again, bridges take a beating more than any other type of roadway surface. It's simply because obviously there's steel underneath in many cases, in most cases, I suppose, and the fact that the thaw and freeze cycles on too many roadways, if it's elevated, it gets frozen from both sides, and that's why bridges need extra care. Is that a good way to put it?
Oh, absolutely. And our area gets hammered more than most. We get a bad rap a lot for West Virginia and Pennsylvania for our roadways and bridges, but we deal with so much with, again, the winter comes, we have to put the salt down to keep people safe from sliding all over the place, but that salt is really what gets into our structures and deteriorates them. So we have regular washes we do to try to clean the bridges, and again, we put all this preservation funding into it, but everything comes at a cost. So you're spot on. We're doing our best to keep our bridges good.
Yeah, it's not a simple process. It's not a cheap process. But in a case like this, the idea is so you don't have to do complete restructuring, reconstruction. Hopefully this will, not hopefully, but it will allow the bridge to last longer than it would without this, correct?
That's absolutely correct. So you invest, let's say you invest $2 million into this project now, it keeps you from investing $10 million into these structures a few years down the road. So that's the big pro of having these preservation projects.
Yeah, I like when people say, and the snowbirds that go to Florida, oh, the road's down there. I'm like, really? How much thaw and freeze do you get in Florida? Yeah, it's
exactly.
It's just not going to happen. Or Arizona or Texas, for heaven's sakes. It's just not. You're dealing with an entirely different situation, and the amount of bridges around here. When you think about, I know, city of Pittsburgh, Allegheny County is not in District 12. But when you think about the amount of bridges, and people probably drive over bridges, they don't even realize they're bridges at times.
That's absolutely true. Yeah. Here in District 12 alone, which District 12 is Fayette County, Greene County, Washington, and Westmoreland. So those 4 counties make up District 12, including local bridges. We have just shy of 3,000 bridges in our district. So it's a lot for us to keep up with, that's for sure.
Yeah, it makes Venice look like it's on dry land when you think about 3,000 bridges, for heaven's sakes. As we talk with bridge engineer Michael Muscannon and Andrew Stacy, Community Relations Coordinator with PennDOT, and speaking of District 12. So tell us, Andrew, if you would, what the point today of this meeting, this public meeting was, and if folks who couldn't make it, how can they get that same information online or virtually or by video?
Sure. The point of the meeting today was just really to provide that information out to the community, and gather any feedback we could, and any comments we could from the community. And so I mentioned the virtual plans display. That's kind of our online web page and comment form that we have for the project. And so that runs from today through for the next 2 weeks through April 7th. And so anybody can get online there on PennDOT District 12 webpage and search Fayette County Epoxy Overlay, and then click on the link there. Or you can go to the projects near you in District 12 and then find the Epoxy Overlay project. Pretty simple to get to, and anybody can submit a comment, and it is live right now.
Yeah, and of course, these 4 areas you're talking about, Route 51 over Route 119, which is Pittsburgh Street, North Union Township. And it's amazing when you go through that interchange. I mean, that's like something out of L.A. I mean, it's 4 or 5 levels high based on which angle you're looking at it, especially now with over the years that Route 43, the toll road was added to that. The second part, McClellan Road in South Union, that's Route 21 over Route 119, Route 40 over, again, toll road 43 in known as Redstone Way in Redstone Township, and then Route 119 again over Route 43 in Georges Township, Morgantown Road. So you're talking about putting this epoxy down, and it's obviously it's adding a layer, 3/8 inches, pretty thick stuff. Will entire roadways have to be shut down, Michael, or are we talking about single lane closures, or there will be times when detours are required? And when's work going to be done? Weekdays, weekends? I just asked you about 5 questions at once. Sorry about that.
No, it's no problem. I'll wrap it up with 3 of them in one answer, and then 1 bridge and another answer. So, the 21 bridge behind the Uniontown Mall, the 40 bridge over Turnpike 43, that's the one going towards Brownsville, coming from Uniontown, and then called the Morgantown Road Bridge, that's SR 119 over Turnpike 43. All 3 of those are going to be phased, so those will not be shut down. You will not have to detour around those bridges. The 51 interchange, just like you said, that's a busy one. That's 51 over SR 119. It's a busy intersection. We did a lot of coordination with the traffic unit on this one. What we landed on, that will be a weekend closure. So basically, Friday evening, the bridge will be shut down, and Monday morning, it will be open again to traffic. Now, the when, that's a good question. The notice to proceed for this project is July 20th of this year. So we don't have a contractor picked yet. Obviously, we still have to advertise and basically let this project. So whomever that contractor will be, July 20th is when they will have the notice to proceed. It will depend on weather. It will depend on that contractor's schedule. But anytime from July 20th until the end of the summer of 2027, they have basically a year window to coordinate with us on what weekend works best for them. So, in a sense, TBD on the specifics of when, but that one will be shut down over a weekend.
And you right at the beginning that you said about a terminate. I forget the wording you used there, but I'm guessing the date you gave, July 20th, that's when it's allowed to start and not before. Is that or the goal for it to start? I see.
Correct. So that's kind of when we open the door for the contractor to work with us, in a sense, to give us a weekend that works for their schedule and works weather-wise to get the project done.
Gotcha. We've been talking with Michael Miscannon, bridge engineer with PennDOT District 12, and Community Relations Coordinator Andrew Stacy. Michael, Andrew, thanks so much. You guys jumped on the line with us quick here today when I took a look at this the email that went out. And folks can always sign up to get updates on what's going on in the region as well. Correct, Andrew?
Yes, they can. You can get on our PennDOT District 12 website, and you can submit your email and get any of the updates that we send out, news releases, info on traffic alerts, things like that.
Yeah, I guess the best way, Google PennDOT District 12, I suppose, and then you could jump on it there.
That is probably the easiest way to get there, yes,
easiest
sir.
way to do that. Michael, Andrew, thanks so much. We appreciate your joining us today with an update on a project that's a lot more exciting than initially I thought it was. So I appreciate your taking time to talk to us about this. Keep up the good work. Thanks so much.
Thanks for having us.
All right.
Yep, thanks for having us.
Thank you. We're going to take a break. When we come back, Bill and I are going to talk to John Wayner, of course, voice of the Pirates, played third base for the Pirates, local boy from Carrick, in the city of Pittsburgh. But first, this is the Afternoon Drive Show on WMBS.
Go to Ford of Uniontown and trade me in.
It's Dominic Carbone with Jessica Caringla with your 7-time President Award-winning Ford of Uniontown. Truck Month is on the horizon, and we're kicking this thing off with a bang. Running all the way to the end of March, and we're talking massive savings.
How massive?
Well, I'm glad you asked. Take up to $8,000 off select F-150s or $6,000 off with interest rates at 2.9 for 60 months, 3.9 for 72, and only 4.9 for 84 months.
And that's not all. We got deals on Super Duties, Mavericks, and Rangers. Just stop, click, or call for details. Here at Ford of Uniontown, our commitment is to make sure you have the best experience, not only buying a vehicle, but getting it serviced as well. That's why we offer online maintenance appointments and free pickup and delivery.
Your truck knows, shouldn't you? That's Ford of Uniontown on the hill across from Applebee. 724-425-5980 or FordofUniontown.com.
Price excludes taxes and transfer fees, must finance with Ford Credit, and not all buyers will qualify.
Tune in each Saturday morning from 6 to 7 a.m. right here on WMBS 590 AM and FM 101.1 for Garden Talk Radio. It's the Gardening with Joey and Holly radio show, topic-focused, guests from across the country, and answering your garden questions. Send your questions in now to gardentalkradio@gmail.com or call anytime to 1-800-927-SHOW. That's every Saturday morning from 6 to 7 a.m. right here on WMBS 590 AM and FM 101.1. Catch the replay Monday evenings from 6 to 7 p.m.
Unlock the energy at Live Casino Pittsburgh during the Spring ZDX giveaway. Play daily to earn entries toward our giveaway drawings on March 27th and 28th, where you could win a share of over $55,000 in prizes, or race away in a new 2026 Acura ZDX all-wheel drive EV. Get charged up for the Acura ZDX giveaway on March 27th and 28th, only at Live Casino Pittsburgh. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
WMBS.
Now that's some music I like there. Look at that. See, when Nick's away, Bill, look at you crank up the theme song for Seinfeld. At one point, you know, of course, on a show like Seinfeld, the network ran the whole thing early on, but then when it got so massive, that's when like Jerry took over and Larry David took over. And at one point, they changed the music. It sounded a little quirkier. And NBC chimed.
Here's a piece of trivia about that.
Go ahead.
They used a different theme for every episode.
Yeah, slightly, yeah.
Yeah, they re-recorded
Right.
it for every episode.
So at one point, it got really quirky, and NBC said, "Oh, you can't do that," which is sort of funny. That's all of the power they had at that point.
We rule over those themes now.
That's right, yeah. And great. So when they decided to end the show, NBC called them all in. They were going to give Jerry $1 million or $5 million an episode, and the other three, Elaine, George, and Kramer, $1 million an episode. And they showed him a photo of this decent-sized private corporate jet that said Seinfeld on the side of it. And they said, you can use this whenever you want. And they still said, no thanks, we're done. When you think about...
Now, come on. If you and I were doing the show, it would be like, deal!
That's right, we'll take that. But when you think of especially someone like Jerry Seinfeld, who just seems to be having fun in life. I saw him do a show. Now, this is after Seinfeld was over, in Newcastle. Now, he doesn't have to be doing shows in Newcastle. We've got to get him to the State Theater, I suppose. But, yeah, he just has fun in life. I saw him for the very first...
Why not? He has more money than God.
I saw him for the very first time at a place called the Funny Bone, which is on Route 51 in Brentwood.
Yep.
And this is long before Seinfeld, before he made his big hit on Johnny Carson on The Tonight Show. And this was the first comedy club, and so how far is this back, 70s, early 80s, between Chicago and New York. It's called the Funny Bone. It later moved to Station Square. It's not there anymore. And they used to have yuck for $1. You could get in for $1. And there was you didn't have a drink minimum. And then they moved it to a yuck for $2. So I saw Jerry Seinfeld for $2. A buddy of mine, Jerry, said, hey, I hear about this comedian. This is long before the internet. I don't know how he tracked him down. And we went to see him, and he was good. I mean, early on, it was cool to see someone like that. On Route 51 in Brentwood, of course, folks, you could drive right through Brentwood on Route 51 north heading into the city of Pittsburgh. In fact, I think it's the last municipality you hit, maybe Whitehall, before you hit the city of Pittsburgh, down near the intersection of Route 51 and Route 88. Again, we want to thank Michael McCannon, Miss Cannon, and Andrew Stacy for joining us from PennDOT to talk about this project coming up. Again, you want to Google PennDOT District 12. You'll go to their website. You can sign up to get the updates, but this is a major project, and it's a good one, even though it doesn't, as I mentioned, doesn't sound all that all that fancy. Joining us right now on the WVU Medicine Uniontown Hospital talk line 2 days before opening day for the Pirates season. Yeah, John Wehner, of course, longtime member of the Pirates, a player and an announcer as well. John, thanks for joining us. 2 days out. We think you'd give you a day off, but here you are on the air with us talking Pirate baseball. I suppose a busy time of year, but give us your thoughts on spring training. With the interruption, of course, some of the players took off to go play the World Baseball Classic. What's your thoughts on how spring training went for the Bucks?
Hi, Doug. Yeah, it was a good spring. I mean, it was a different vibe, a different kind of attitude. I think with the additions that the team made over the winter, especially the offensive additions, with O'Hearn, Lau, Mangum, Osuna. I mean, obviously this team did not hit well enough last year. Ranked 30th across the league in homers, runs, OPS, the rest of it. So bringing in some new blood, guys that are established major league hitters that have done some really good things in their career, changes the whole outlook on the lineup and I think the team. I think everybody knew coming into this year that the pitching was the strong point, and now, with these additions, they really feel. And now I'll say this because every spring everybody's optimistic. We heard a lot of the same things last year, but it's a different vibe with Dottie Kelly as the manager, and the way he runs camp, and just everybody's so positive. Everybody's getting along. Everybody thinks that this team's a lot better, including myself. And spring training's long. You look forward to it being done after a couple of weeks, and so everybody's chomping at the bit to get this thing going.
Yeah, 30, always about 30 games they play. When you think about that compared to other sports, now naturally you don't play every day, even in hockey or basketball, certainly not football. But yeah, to have that many spring training games, it obviously gives a lot of folks a chance to get noticed or to even get some playing time. And first off, I didn't even bother saying thanks for joining us today. That should have been the first words out of my mouth, John.
Oh, no problem.
When you came with us.
No problem.
Came on the air with us. Let me. You had the World Baseball Classic part way through it. It's funny. It followed the Olympics, which interrupted the regular season for the National Hockey League. This is a little different. This is during spring training, and that's exactly why they did it. What are your thoughts on the World Baseball Classic? Of course, I guess they're now doing this every 4 years. It went to 3 years at one point. COVID interrupted it. But it seemed like a lot of fun to watch these games. And, my gosh, let me tell you, the Venezuelans know how to get excited. Good heavens.
Yeah, I'm certainly getting more and more into it. I didn't watch much of it the first few times, but the last two WBCs, I was engaged. In this year, of course, with Paul Skeens, former Pirate David Bednar, every other nation seemed like they have at least a couple of Pirate players on there. So it piqued my interest, and it's fun. It really is fun. I think it took a minute for the USA to be bought in for all the players to participate. Certainly, that hasn't been the case in places like Venezuela or Mexico or the Dominican or Japan, for that matter. I mean, it's you could tell it's always been a big deal for some of these nations, and to come in to the U.S. and try to beat the U.S. I mean, it's where it's founded. Baseball's a U.S. sport, and so it was fascinating to me to watch the games in Houston and see how many Mexican fans and how many Venezuelan and Dominican fans were in Miami. It was fascinating to me, how they cheer. I played some winter ball, so it's different. It's certainly different. The fans are so much into it. The players, it's almost like a playoff atmosphere every game, and so that's what we saw with the WBC, and I think the USA, again, with guys like Paul Skeens and Tatar Skubal and others joining the USA team, it's creating more interest, and I think you're going to see more and more players get involved. And, it's kind of a break from spring training, and so it's high intensity right away. But, it is crazy. It's amazing to me, these other nations and how into it they are. It's like a World Series. Maybe from what I've heard from people that have come back, it's almost, greater than a World Series because these fans are so into it.
Yeah, there's about, I Googled this one, there's about 28 million people in Venezuela. I think most of them were at that final game. I guess there were some American fans in Miami that day, but my gosh, were they into it. And I don't remember, of all the gazillions of games I've watched over the years, to see players in a dugout getting up on the top step and waving their arms like football players do sometimes to get the crowd into it. Is that something Major League Baseball needs? It would be very different to see guys in the dugout trying to get their fans to scream louder. I find it sort of exciting. I don't like when they make these silly celebrations in the end zone in football, but I think something like that, it caught my attention. Does baseball need something like that to get the fans roared up more?
Maybe. I've always, being around the game for so long and being a big fan of the game, and shoot, it was a lot different in the 90s. You hit a home run and you kind of acted like, okay, I've done it before. So you're not doing cartwheels around the bases. You're not showing up the pitcher. You're just kind of, oh, that's my job. I hit a home run, so I go around the bases. And so I think, obviously the fans get excited to see a home run and stuff like that, but it's always been kind of less intense sport, maybe because there are so many of them. There's 162 games. But no, the World Baseball Classic, and because it's a short event, then you get into the finals, and so it's one and done. It's almost like a Game 7 of a World Series or a Game 7 of the playoffs. And now you see when you watch postseason in baseball, especially when they get towards the end of a series, fans are way more into it than a game in April in Pittsburgh or any other city. The game, you watch a game through the summer, and it's people get cheer for runs scored or great plays, but it's not like in the postseason. And so I think that's what you see with so many of these nations that want to come in and beat the U.S. They're treating it like it's the seventh game of the World Series, and I think that's why you see the arms raising and getting the fans into it. And not that they had to. I mean, the fans were into it. It was insane. It didn't look like anybody sat down in a lot of those games. So I think that's the difference, though. You're playing in a tournament, and it's one and done. It's elimination. It's like a Game 7, and so anytime you get an elimination game, I think the importance obviously is greater, and the fans and the players are going to get more into it. But yeah, it is a little refreshing to see. I never thought I'd say that because I'm not a big fan of the celebrations and the showing up the opposition and all that. But I tell you, it opens your eyes to how important this game of baseball is to a lot of these nations around the world.
We were talking with John Wayner on the Afternoon Drive show. Yeah, I think it's hard to believe now. I think it was 1988. It's almost 40 years ago. Kirk Gibson, who could barely walk and run because he was so hobbled, but hits a home run off Exerly in the World Series, and him pumping his fist going around second and third base. They show that regularly. That's It's kind of weird. That's one example now. 38 years ago. But yeah, I don't think you'll ever see the days of guys doing silly dances like they do in the NFL. But that's sort of excitement. I'm old school. I'm as old school as it comes when it comes to baseball. I still hate designated hitters. I despise putting a runner on second base in extra innings. But something like that, I guess I could live with it because I know baseball will do well if I can live with it. I suppose. Yeah, I guess. Yeah,
it has changed. The game has changed a bunch in the last 10 or so years, and it is, like I said, that was an iconic home run. You bring up a Gibson, and I don't know if he's ever showed much emotion, like that. But again, you're in the World Series. It's a big deal, and so the emotions run a little bit higher. But the game has changed, especially when you get to the ultimate games. Those elimination games. It gets pretty crazy. And nothing crazier than the 2013 playoff game. The Johnny Cueto game. I was there as a fan. I've never experienced anything like that.
I was there too. Then screaming his name, he drops the ball, rolls off he has to walk over and pick it up, the ultimate humiliation, and then on the next pitch gives up a homer. I mean, that's stuff of legends. That's just incredible.
Crazy.
That would happen. Well, it's back to the Pirates now. You can't talk about the Pirates these last couple of years without talking about Paul Skeens. Nothing like him. I don't know. Have we had a rookie ever that's been at this level of baseball? You think I think about some freshmen batting against him when he was with LSU on his last year there, and the next year, he's starting the All-Star game. I think you go that fast into the major leagues. We've had Steve Blass on. He says he's never seen anything like it, and Steve's seen it all.
The only thing I think is close for me is Dwight Gooden. I mean, so you're talking, mid-late 80s, mid-80s, I believe. I think it was 84, 85. So you're talking, 40 years ago since we've seen anything like this for a pitcher to come up and do the things that Dwight Gooden did. In fact, I think Dwight Gooden did win the Rookie of the Year, and then he won the Cy Young the next year. So, yeah, it's definitely a generational talent, a dominating figure that wants to win. Obviously, he says it all the time, and I think, who knows how long the Pirates are going to have him, if he's going to be here another 3 or 4 years. It'll be interesting to see. So that's why I think it was so important to do what you could to upgrade the offense to get him some support. It's amazing he wins a Cy Young with a 10-10 record.
Yeah.
If he had run support, he'd be like 42-7 or something like that. I read
there was some crazy stat. If he got 1.2 more runs a game, he'd have been almost 30 wins, which is stuff from like the 1930s. You don't hear stats like that anymore. And just the maturity of the kid. Nobody gets into and to the Air Force Academy without being mature. Any of the academies. So that's I worked for the U.S. Senate at one point. I was on a committee that helped determine who the senator would recommend for these academies. Amazing at meeting with these high school kids, how mature they were getting into the academies. So obviously, his being that mature. Frankly, at times it's not a surprise because of what his career has had, and I'm sure it was devastating for him to leave the academy, but he knew he had to get more attention at LSU. But just the way he handles himself, and he's had leads, and they blow the leads, and you don't see him, throwing his glove somewhere in the dugout or bad mouthing afterwards. Sort of reminds me of Sid Crosby, just an incredible amount of maturity at such a young age.
Yeah, he's definitely, he's a man among boys. You saw it the moment he signed. This guy is a man. He's a grown man with, very good head on his shoulders. He's a huge physical specimen. He obviously has been blessed with a ton of talent. That right arm of his is like no other, really. I mean, there's very few people that can throw as hard. Plus, he's an extremely hard worker. What he does away from the ballpark or away from the field, the working out and the exercising, and he's one of the first, if not the first, in the ballpark. He has a crazy regimen to stay in shape. He studies the game. He's very respectful, of course, being from the Air Force Academy. And I think it's just going to keep growing because this guy, I think not only does he hold himself accountable, he wants to hold everybody accountable. And that goes from his teammates to the coaching staff to the management. And he's, he wants to win. And he says it constantly. He wants the pieces to win. I guarantee if he ends up being a free agent, he's going to go somewhere. He's going to want to go somewhere that can win. And he's going to work very hard to be a big part of it. And so, and he's a good human being. There's not arrogance there. He's pretty cool, calm, collected, maybe understated, but he's certainly talented. And I'm really hoping that this offense could support this team, especially with him. And Keller's another one last year that was, I think, 6-16 with a pretty good ERA. And I think they will. I really look forward to seeing this offense. I think, the lineup looks a lot stronger. There's, for once, a legitimate cleanup hitter, a legitimate 5-hole hitter. So, they got some guys that have done some really big things offensively in the major leagues. So, hopefully, Paul will get a lot more wins because I think not only him but the rest of this young staff. I think it helps. It makes their job a lot easier when you're pitching with a lead as opposed to a tie game or down a run.
Yeah, it's just extraordinary having him on our team here in Pittsburgh. And I don't care how long he's with us. I'm thrilled to have him every day to be able to watch that and watch him pitch. It's an exciting time, and we hope we get to keep him for a while. But if we don't, I'm glad we had him when you did. That sounds a little corny, But that's life in baseball, I suppose. And we'll see what happens on that one. John Wayner joining us on the Afternoon Drive Show. John, you joined us a couple times last season. We appreciate your taking time, and would love to talk to you during this season as well. It all starts on Thursday with the opener, of course. John, thanks so much. We appreciate it.
You bet, Doug.
Take
care.
Thank you. John Wayner joining us here on the Afternoon Drive Show. We're going to take a break. We'll come
Feeling
back.
lucky? You're
sorry.
That's okay. Coming back,
Finger slipped.
Bill and I will chat it up. Well, we never make mistakes during the Afternoon Drive Show. Oh, yeah.
Never do.
Well, I'm flawless, for heaven's
We
sake.
didn't get a chance to talk about it, but you also saw a huge development from Bubba Chandler.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
Over the course of spring training. Again, it's spring training.
Right.
He's pitching against single A and double A players, so we'll see what happens.
We'll see what exactly. Well, we'll talk a little bit more about Pirate baseball when we come back. Stick around.
Feeling lucky? Your next big jackpot is waiting for you. Visit the casino at Nemacolin in Farmington, PA for the ultimate casino experience featuring the hottest table games, daily promotions, big-time giveaways, and an exciting variety of premium slots. And after, celebrate your big win with a juicy burger at the Royale while you watch the big game. Hotel packages available. Visit CasinoNemacolin.com for more information. The Casino at Nemacolin. Game on. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Tune in to WMBS the second and fourth Thursdays monthly at 10:30 a.m. for an all-new radio program with Pete Crackle, Director of Clinical Operations and Pharmacist at Nickman's Drug. Pete will explore a myriad of health-related topics and talk about how a strong relationship with your pharmacist is vital for your best health. So mark your listening calendars and be sure to catch the all-new show the second and fourth Thursday each month. Need a pharmacy? Visit Nickman's Drug today at any of their 7 area locations.
Hi, everybody. This is Matt Sapienza, WMBS's Morning Man, here to remind you of the letters for this week's Name It and Claim It scrambled word game. We have 8 letters in this week's puzzle, 8, and we are back into single-digit territory with this one. Let's see if you can unscramble these into a proper word. The letters are as follows. R as in rooster, T as in teeth, A as in apple, C as in carrot, F as in fries, R as in rice, I as in icicle, and A as in apricot. Those letters make up one word. You must use all the letters in your answer. No proper names, please. Should you unscramble the letters into the proper word we're looking for and get chosen, well, you'll win a set of tickets to see Mutts Gone Nuts Unleashed, a great dog show, Saturday, April 11th at the State Theater Center for the Arts in Uniontown. Here's how you win. You send in your answer along with your name, address, and phone number to Name It and Claim It, WMBS Radio, 44 South Mount Vernon Avenue, Uniontown, Pennsylvania, 15401. Or if you really feel like it, you can drop your answer off personally here at the WMBS broadcast house at that very same address. Either way, make sure your cards get in by no later than 4 o'clock this Thursday afternoon. That's March 26th, in case you need the date. Enter as many times as you like. No purchase is necessary, because it's all from us, your local station, the station where it really does pay to listen, WMBS, Uniontown.
CareerLink is your one-stop resource for employment and training-related services. Visit CareerLink and you'll have access to many programs and agencies for assistance with economic, educational, and job-related needs. For more information on all the programs available to you, contact CareerLink at 724-434-JOBS. That's 724-434-JOBS.
Mountaintop Title and Notary can handle all of your motor vehicle and PennDOT needs, such as titles, plates, renewal, registrations, and all notary needs. Tina Nicholson of Mountaintop Title and Notary can also handle ATV and boat titles and also does income taxes. Hours are Monday through Friday, 9:30 to 4:30, and appointments can be made for after hours and Saturdays. Mountaintop Title and Notary with a new location at 655 Nelson Road in Farmington, the only place you need to go for all title, notary, and tax work. Call Tina at 724-984-1514 for the most professional services around.
WMBS.
That is Chicago bringing us out of the break. 95 or 6-4.
No.
What?
25.
25.
Or 6-4.
Or what did I say? 95.
Yeah.
Why? I was counting inflation.
Maybe you were thinking about that highway you were driving on back when you went to the motel town.
There we go. That's right. Breezewood was what I was trying to think about. Hey, I want to thank John Wayne, who gave us a lot of time there. Good guy. Sometimes we interview folks and you think, they're just mailing it in. He doesn't do that, and Greg Braun doesn't do it. Steve Blast doesn't do it. I've never had on is Bob Walk. I just try to get Bob Walk on the line.
Hey, and a reminder that we will have the opening game Thursday afternoon, 12:50 for the pregame show, 1:15 for the first pitch. Paul Skeens, starting pitcher for the Pirates, and who knows who'll be playing third base.
We'll figure that out when it happens. And I was just being corrected by Bill and Jerome Huchel, who's now in studio, that I didn't ask the right questions. But next time I'll make sure I get those questions.
That just means we have to have them back.
There we go. Exactly. We'll have them back. I'm going to ask one of those questions that you don't usually ask on the air. Are we going to news or straight to the Penguins?
We are going straight to Penguins hockey.
Coming up in about 15 seconds on your local station, WMBS Uniontown. I'm Doug Saltzman. That's Bill Madden.
Hello.
On the controls, producing the show today. And Jerome Shell will be working the board later. So enjoy the Penguin game tonight. I'm Doug. That's Bill. That's Jerome. Enjoy the game.
On WMBS Uniontown.
Jets. Michelle Crecchiolo. Last week we were not sure what to expect from the Penguins in their first matchup against Colorado. And we were just hoping that they could keep the road trip a winning one, or at least a positive one with a good effort against the Colorado Avalanche. They did that. Evgeny Malkin with 2 goals in the first period. Penguins don't have Evgeny Malkin tonight. We'll get into that in a moment. But that was a statement win for the Penguins. This could be even a bigger statement win if they're able to muster up 2 points against Colorado here tonight.
Yeah, because I think you're going to get Colorado's best after that performance. They felt they were just bad, that they weren't hard on pucks, that they gave up easy offense, and they were saying that Scott Wedgwood wasn't at fault for really any of the goals before he got pulled. They just didn't like their game. So I think we can expect them to come out wanting redemption. But I think we absolutely can expect the Penguins to want redemption as well for how Sunday went. Just an uncharacteristic off game. I think it is symptomatic of the schedule. I think you